Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Chris and it is April 2nd and that means it is time to do my April fragrance tray. Each month I try to pick 10 fragrances that I plan or I'm going to force myself to wear during the subsequent month. These perfumes tend to be fragrances that I have been neglecting even though I love them, fragrances perhaps that are new, and perfumes I want to wear before their season ends. And with that, I'm just going to jump right in and make this really quick. The first one I'm going to choose is one from Christian Dior. I think this was the first one in this line that I purchased. And this is Sakura. And this reminds me so much of spring because it's typically March and April when the cherry blossoms bloom around here. And this is one of my very favorite cherry blossom perfumes. It has a cherry blossom accord, but it doesn't go overly, shampoo-y. Sometimes cherry blossom scents can do that. Not that I mind, but I would prefer them not to be overly shampoo-y. This has really pretty rose. It's powdery. It's very clean. It's elegant. It has a little bit of a sweetness to it, and I know that there is a little bit of violet, probably a little bit of citruses, and everything just comes together to form one of the prettiest spring and summer perfumes in my collection. I have been neglecting this because I do not wear it in the cold weather. It just doesn't scream cold weather to me, and it also has mimosa, if I didn't say it, and the mimosa is very, very pretty. Mimosa to me smells like a honeyed yellow floral. So Sakura is going to be heavy in the rotation. Speaking of a fragrance that I bought this perfume months and months ago, almost a year ago, and I think I've only worn it twice. I like the perfume a lot. It's a like, not a love, and it was kind of an impulse buy because it is, the perfumer is Quentin Biche, and this is from one of my favorite lines. This is Dries Van Noten, and this is called Fleur du Mal, and I think that means like evil flower or devilish flower. And the flower that he is, referring to is the osmanthus flower or bud. And because the osmanthus has a duality to it, it can smell very apricot-y, peachy and apricot-y and light and sweet and innocent. But it also can take, it can take on an animalistic quality. It can smell very leathery and sometimes not as sweet and innocent. So I think that's the angel devil kind of push and pull about this fragrance. And to me, this perfume is basically peach, like peach, apricot, and leather. I don't get a whole lot of other things. Maybe it has a little bit of woods in the background. Maybe it has a little bit of musk, but it is a strong, juicy peach that is very, very ripe, like peachy apricot and leather, like you were wearing. Let's say you went out for a walk. It was still a little bit chilly when you went out, but it was sunny. So you put on a light leather jacket and you took with you, some peach juice, some very concentrated peach juice. And as you were walking, you were drinking and you spilled it. You spilled a lot on your jacket and you didn't notice it. And so as you were walking, the peach juice kind of dried on your coat. And when you came in and smelled the jacket, it had that part of the leather where you spilled the juice was very, very peachy. And the peach and leather were kind of one. They had melted together from the warm sun. So this one is a very, very strong perfume. And I do think that it can be worn year round because it has, those deeper qualities, the leather, but also the light peachy notes. Springtime would be like the perfect time to wear it. So I'm going to make sure that I give it a little bit of wear. The one perfume that I really, really like, and I never pull for it, even though I really, really enjoy it, is called Le Lion by Chanel. It's a beautiful perfume. To me, this is, if you want to know what labdanum smells like, smell Le Lion. It's very, very heavy in the labdanum, and labdanum to me smells like sweet leather. It does have a little bit of citruses in the background and really smells very similar to Shalimar with a little bit of the vanilla in the background. The differences would be this is a little bit more waxy. I get something a little bit waxy in here, Whereas Shalimar, to me, I get a lot of those animalic notes. If you can hear the thunder. So what do April showers bring? April showers bring the beautiful Mayflower. So it's raining. If you probably will be hearing the thunder in the background. But this one is a little bit more waxy. Shalimar is a little bit more animalic. I get a little bit more leather. I get this leather jet fuel thing in the EDP that I don't care for. So I tend to prefer the flankers more. And they both are warm, powdery, and strong. This is one of those perfumes that I will regret if I overspray. And I am an undersprayer as it is. I will spray and then walk into the mist. If you just douse yourself with L'Orient, it's incredibly overpowering. So I do have to be careful with that. This, to me, this perfume right here is kind of like liquid gold, liquid sunshine, and it's named appropriately. You know, another Quentin Biche creation, and this is by Le Liquide Imaginaire. This is, to me, this smells like the bottle looks. This is a very interesting take on an orange blossom. It's a very warm and toasty orange blossom because it has saffron, which gives it some spiciness, gives it a little bit of leathery warmth. It also has carrot seeds, and I want to say a little bit of dates. The orange blossom is definitely here. It might have other white florals, but orange blossom is the main player. Some other spices, I don't think there's clove or anything like that, even though it's very, very warm. A little bit of aldehydes in the beginning. It's bright in the beginning. It's a little bit bright and clean, but without being soapy. And this one has a lot of this warm, fuzzy musk in the dry down, the same musk that is in Rosenda Matu number 5. So if you like the perfume, but thought it went a little bit too heavy and a little bit too far, a little bit too smoky, a little bit into that rubber tire zone, this has that same musk, but it doesn't go that far. I don't get anything burned or rubbery or smoky in here. So beautiful. I probably, because it has a lot of those warm notes, I probably will not be wearing it in the middle of summer. So I want to make sure I get more wear before I won't be pulling for it. Let's see, my videos would not be complete unless I showed an Ormonde Jayne fragrance. So the Ormonde Jayne fragrance that is going to be on my April perfume tray is one that I have been neglecting. It's called Tanger, and this is an ambery neroli. I was going to say orange blossom, but I do think that this is neroli because it is very green. It has a greenness, so it's a green orange blossom, and green orange blossoms typically tend to be neroli. So it's green without being sharp, and it has a very sweet ambery base. So it's not quite as sweet as Love Don't Be Shy. It's very sweet. That amber is very, very sweet. And the green doesn't go too far where it overtakes the perfume. You still get that lovely sweetness. I just think that it's done very, very well. It's very alluring. And because it has a lot of that ambery sweetness, it's going to do well in the, I'm not going to say cold weather, but it will do just fine on those cool spring or mildly warm spring days. Another one that I have been neglecting, and I love this perfume, it's one of my favorite Nutty perfumes, definitely one of my favorite pistachio fragrances, is called Pistachio Haiku, and this is by the Experimental Perfume Club. This has lots of nuts in it. I want to say hazelnuts, for sure pistachio. It has a lot of warmth. I also think this one has sesame, which was one of the reasons why I really wanted it. So pistachio, maybe hazelnuts, very, very warm. It does have a greenness to it, and that greenness, I want to say, is from, fig leaves. It's so pretty. It's powdery, it's warm. It is similar to Tonka Sesame, but this one is a little bit more warm. It's a little bit more ambery. I also think it has cashmere or cashmere wood, something like that. It's a little bit more warm. It's a little bit more toasty. It's a little bit more ambery, and definitely greener from that fig leaf. So something about this makes me think of Easter. I don't know. I really, really enjoy it. Now, two fragrances that I wore a lot in February. I have always loved Scent Split, and my favorite sizes are the 5 ml because the dabber is just, I'm not a fan of dabbers, and the 2 ml spray, you You basically get one, maybe two wears out of it. The 5 ml really gives you a chance to wear fragrances multiple times. I put these two little babies. These are by the House of Obligant. And there are two fragrances I wanted to really get my nose on. I paid for these myself. And I do have a discount code below. Is Vanilla Imperial or Vanille Imperial and Ambre Rubris. Now the one I'm going to talk about, and spoiler alert, I love them so much that I realized pretty quickly that I wanted to get a full bottle. So the one that is going to go on my April perfume tray is Ambre Rubris, and Vanille Imperial, you will see it in a vanilla specialty video that I will be filming today. But this is a beautiful amber perfume. Let me spray. Oh, this is so nice. So this room's gonna smell so good. So it is it's got cherry. If it doesn't have cherry, no, I know this one has cherry. Cherry, red fruits, red berries. It's equal parts cherry, woods, and amber. And this is a beautiful cherry perfume where the cherry is very, very prominent, but it does not smell like Lost Cherry. This one is more ambery. That is more, Lost Cherry has a beautiful maraschino liqueur scent to it. This one is a little bit sweeter. It's a little bit more powdery. It's a little bit more vanillic. And then, you know, the amber really takes over in the dry down, and then you get this beautiful ambery woods kind of marinating with some beautiful, I would say these would be dark cherries. It has a little bit of an exotic flair. In other words, it's not just, you know, your boring schmoring cherry fragrance, but it's not as exotic as, let's say, a Duquesa. So this does kind of remind me, it has, parts of it remind me of other perfumes. For example, this smells a little bit like cherry punk, but it doesn't have the leather. And this does remind me a little bit of Duquesa because that is an exotic cherry, but it does not have the almond and the saffron that one has. And the saffron and almond are pretty prominent in Duquesa. So this is kind of really nice in the middle. Beautiful, a little bit exotic, but very, very wearable. Oh my gosh. And I have been wearing this to work, and my coworkers have been big fans. Okay, number 9 on my list is this beautiful bottle. I've had this bottle forever, and I have been neglecting it. And this is by the House of Comte de Parfum. And I bought this on So Avant-Garde, and I do think that the Discovery set, the beautiful Discovery set, is currently sold out. And I purchased 3 full bottles, and they are some of the prettiest bottles in my collection. I don't know if you can see this. But anyway, the brand will recruit kind of world famous noses, and they request that they create a perfume based on a scent memory. And this particular perfumer is on Filippo. Filippo, us Texans tend to add an extra syllable. And she wanted to create a perfume based on, I'm blanking on the name, it's called the Hanami, which is basically the viewing of the cherry blossoms, the annual cherry blossom viewing ceremony that they have, I want to say in, well, Japan, but probably Tokyo, thus the name. So this is a cherry blossom fragrance, but I get a lot of other things. Funny thing is that I had already started to wear it at the end of March, and I sprayed this on my bathrobe, and I went to sit on my bed, and then Pat and I were just kind of watching movies, and he said, "Oh man, what is that? You smell so good. It's very pretty." And it happened to be Tokyo. So this one's very pretty. So this is tea. This is a pink dewy rose. Of course, cherry blossom or a cherry blossom accord. Nothing shampoo-y. I get maybe a little bit of citruses in the top. Kind of this gauzy, you know, dewy musk. Maybe a little bit of woods in the base. This is mostly a pink floral, like a dewy pink floral. I want to say maybe there's peony in here. It smells very pink. I will say that the bottle just kind of doesn't capture the scent of the perfume, which smells very pink. I mean, if the bottle had been this pink ombre with beautiful pink flowers, maybe a little bit of tea in between the peonies and the nice rose, I think it would probably be better. But maybe this green bottle captures the essence of the green tea and the little, I guess that's a cherry blossom in the background. It's really, really pretty. Kind of the epitome of spring. Would be a great spring and summer. Okay, so the last two are from Alexandra J, and they have some of the prettiest bottles in all of perfumery. And yes, bottles to me, I do tend to like a pretty bottle. I'm not going to lie. So let's do this one. And I've had several on my wish list, but I wasn't going to pay the almost $400. I waited till they came down in price. I bought mine all on Joma Shop, and I'm super, super happy. Only one of them was a blind buy, and the one that was a blind buy, I do less and less of that, is this one called Butterfly, and it smells different than what I thought. So to me, this is a sandalwood perfume. I thought it was going to be like a milky, like nothing but milky tuberose, almost like Blanche Bette. At least to me. So this is a musky, milky, modern sandalwood. So when I say modern sandalwood, I'm referring to the type of sandalwood that's in Santal 33. This is not the same. I don't get any dill pickle, but it's that type of sandalwood that's very, very clean, almost green, verging on a pickle. So it's a very modern, crisp, clean sandalwood, but there is a milkiness in here. It has some spices. You know, obviously there is tuberose. There might be other white florals. Maybe there is jasmine, orange blossom, tuberose for sure. The strongest flower, even though, like I said, I think the sandalwood is more prominent than the flowers, than the white flowers. And as it dries down, it becomes softer. It becomes a little bit more musky, and it becomes a little bit more sweet. So there probably is a little bit, I would guess, a little bit of vanilla in here, because that milky, creamy, almost crisp sandalwood starts to dry down in more of a warm, a little bit sweet of a sandalwood with these beautiful, you know, tuberose white flowers in the background and some spices. Maybe this has carrot seed, I don't know. Very surprising, very different, but it was a nice surprise. It is very, very nice. And because of that, if you're looking for this creamy vanillic tuberose, this you definitely want to try before you buy, because you're gonna have to, you really do have to enjoy that type of sandalwood. And the last one that I have for this video, Imperial Peacock, is on its way. It's a little bit held up, but the last one for this video that's going in my April perfume tray is Oriental Enigma. This is what I wore. I wore this yesterday alongside Ambre Rubris. I wore one on one arm and one on the other. And they both smelled good. They actually kind of went well together. And very different. Once you wear them side by side, they are very different. This is I'm gonna call this an almond, kind of boozy, powdery, floral, with a little bit of spices. So I think the note, or one of the main notes in here, is hibiscus. I really don't get that. I get a powdery floral, like a powdery purple floral. So I get more of a heliotrope than I get a hibiscus. This is sweet. It has sweetness from dates. It's almondy. I get an almond note in here. It's powdery, and that's probably from the tonka. It's very warm. It's almost like an almond paste. And oftentimes tonka bean can smell like that to me. So maybe a little bit of spices. Maybe it has a little bit of saffron, but definitely this beautiful almondy paste, tonka, powdery floral, powdery purple floral with a touch of a boozy sweetness. I think this one has rum, I'm not sure. Very pretty, very nice. As this was drying down, and it had dried down during the day, one of my coworkers had smelled both arms, because I was like, which one do you like better? She liked them both, but she said this one smelled like warm, sweet, like pipe tobacco. So I don't even think tobacco's in here, but I think everything kind of combined will give you that kind of a warm tobacco-y vibe, and that's it. 10 perfumes that I'm going to be putting on my April perfume tray that I'm looking forward to wearing, in addition to the other goodies that I have in my collection. Let us all know down below what you're going to be putting on your April fragrance tray. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching. If you got anything out of my content, I would love it if you give it a thumbs up. And with that, I'll see you on the next one.